I'm so psyched. I just got off the phone with my dad. I speak to my dad a couple times a year. He's cool. I have no problem with him. Everything's all right there. Always has been. Never really had a problem with my dad. But I don't speak to him a lot. And or most of my family back in New England, which is where I'm from. But I don't, because it's tough being in the situation I'm in now and trying to relate to someone who's in a different world. And I'm, of course, talking about being in the Matrix, I guess, if you want to use that as a term, and trying to relate to people who don't understand that the world isn't what they thought it was. He still lives firmly in a world where he believes everything works the way it was told to us that it does. You know, doctors heal, schools teach, our politicians are here to help govern us, when none of that's true, and it's the opposite. So it's hard to talk to people. And inevitably, I usually end up spilling the spaghetti when I do have these conversations with these people, and I show my power level, and I end up sounding like a fucking retard. But in this case, I kind of held it together. We did touch a little bit upon the infinite nature of who we truly are as energy beings, only because he's going through some health problems, and his body's failing him as far as his lungs. He has to go on like a nebulizer a couple times a day. I don't know if he's had the science juice. I've avoided asking anyone from back home, or well, it's not my home really, it's my point of origin, I guess. People I used to know, I just don't, I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I like to think they didn't, in my mind. But yeah, suddenly he's having all these health problems he didn't have before, so immediately that's what I think. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, hopefully he turns out okay, but because of that, I was trying to impress upon him that even though he feels old, because he's 80 now, he feels much older than he used to, and yeah, I'm 80 years old. I tried to make him feel better by letting him know that he's actually much, 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 much older than 80. And he's been here, he's been in existence for much longer. He just can't remember it. But I did it in kind of a humorous way. So he probably thinks I'm just talking with him, which is fine. But it's really hard to talk to people who are on that side of the veil, or that who are still in the Matrix. It's like that aquarium glass, like that's like 7 feet thick, and you're trying to communicate with them, like, hey, you know, God, like there's just some things that I can't get into. You know, some things that he asked me, like, what I do with my free time. You know, like, what do you do with your time off? Do you? And I'm like, I just hang around. You just hang around? Yeah, I go down the beach. I never go down the fucking beach. If I do, I'm just walking through there or something. But he probably thinks I'm just laying on the beach, like fucking drinking or something. But well, he knows I don't drink. But whatever. The point is, it's like I can't really tell him about a lot of the things I do, a lot of my concerns, or what I focus on most of the time. You know, how do you do that? You know, I've joked about that before when talking about having conversations with family and friends from long ago. Yeah, I run around my neighborhood trying to figure out if there's any demons around. And yeah, I make videos in the garage about the JQ. You can't, like, what are you going to do? I can't tell people what my current interests are or what I spend my time doing. I'm sure a lot of you have the same problem with trying to talk to people that you used to spend more time with, whether it's family or friends or something. It's real tough to talk to people who haven't come over to our side of understanding. And some of them just won't. You know, some of them won't. A couple years ago, maybe longer than that, I used to try to bring people over. And I found that to not only be impossible, but to be harmful to me. You know? It ruined a couple relationships for me, trying to do that. And so I took to the idea that, well, they're going to have to come over on their own. And I started noticing a lot of them weren't coming over. And then I kind of deduced that some of them were not going to come over. It's the old Da Vinci Code. Some will see when shown, and some will not see, man. And some will not see. You just have to kind of, you know, it's hard because you have to let them go in some fashion. Because you know that, you know, you have to let them go, you know. It's weird. It's like it sounds dramatic to say like a living death, but they're not in the same world anymore. They're somewhere else. It's very hard to relate to people like that, and it can happen to just this doesn't have to be friends and family. I mean, I run into that in my neighborhood. I have to act like I'm just like a normal person, or normal, you know, whatever. You understand. We all know what I'm saying, but you know, I'll think about the weather, or just whatever kind of general subjects can make up a conversation when you're talking to a neighbor briefly, but it gets harder when you have to discuss this kind of shit with a family member or a good friend. You know, you really gotta. It's a dance. But today I fucking killed it. I did so well. I might have sounded kind of crazy, but he's used to that. You know, and plus with me, I have a background with mental health issues. I mean, I've been institutionalized and all that stuff. So for family members, they just say, well, he's crazy. We know that, you know. And so that's something they can fall back on to make themselves feel okay, or that there's nothing wrong with me when I'm going on about how time only exists here. So infinity isn't really that scary, because once we're outside the body, we don't have any concept of what time is, so no big deal. It's a dance, though. It's a dance and like an act. I was stressed out because I knew he was calling today. I was fucking stressed out, and it's weird because right before he called, I just had this kind of moment of serenity. I think that's serenity, when you're relaxed and you're like accepting of what the fuck's gonna happen, came over me, and that's when he called. And I fucking handled that call like, you know, I handled it real well. You know, like the smartest guy at the cable company. Not like the outsourced Indian cable company guys. I mean like an American guy that's been there a while. And he's probably about to become a manager, but there's other people that are probably going to get his job because they're women or minorities. That guy. I'm that guy. I was that guy. We're all kind of that guy, though, in a way. And some guys are actually that guy. So, yeah, but for all intents and purposes, yeah, I crushed it. So yeah, I just wanted to make a little notation here that if you're having trouble talking to people without completely letting the spaghetti fall out of your pocket, or you know, looking like a fool, you get better at it. You get better at being deceptive with people. Because what else? I mean, you know, you're being honest with them, but what are you gonna do? You know, it's not a lie, though. You know, there's ways to get around it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to belabor it. I'm just beating this into the fucking ground now. The point is, I did a good job. I'm very happy for myself, and I'm sharing that with you. So there you go. You glad I did that? Glad I shared that with you? I don't care. Either way, I'm happy. You know? I'll be back later to walk around the neighborhood and get up to some of the stuff that I can't tell people about in my extended family, or close family, or friends I used to have, or neighbors, or really anybody. But, you know, except for you guys. Don't blame the teacher. blame the school